Welcome back to my garage. Sorry for taking so long this time too. I've actually spent a couple of weeks mostly with my girlfriend. I've been in a boyfriend-girlfriend mood. And I spend a lot of time out here, and it's a good idea to spend some time with your girlfriend also. You might remember I said I wasn't going to become a CNC geek. Well, it's hard. I become so obsessed with things. There will be two-stroke content coming. There will be the 3D printed cylinder is in Sweden being plated, and also SM Tuning is doing one of my failed castings and putting a sleeve in it. And Mark Atkinson is working on new pistons, a new like version 3, V3 maybe, with a slightly different design, a step in there to keep them aligned, so the ring won't get pinched and like the gap won't vary during operation. Anyways, I've got a new camera, action camera. I like to use the camera you're viewing me on now. I like to use that as much as possible, but with this mill and with tight stuff you can't do it. It's a 50mm lens and it's a crop sensor, so it's actually 70 or 80 millimeters, and like now the camera is like 4 meters away from me, so and that doesn't work in here, and my old action cam like crapped out on me, so now a GoPro, my first GoPro. Hey there, I made a holder for the 3D tester, 3D probe, 3D tester. I milled it with I tried first to mill it with this face mill, which has carbide inserts. There was a lot of sparks and stuff. I tried with one of these AliExpress mills, and it's really uncertain what kind of material this is, because they're marketed as carbide, steel, cobalt. The description says a lot of things, but I actually think it's carbide. They're really heavy, like too heavy. 8 through that case hardening, which I can't touch with a file. Actually managed to get it pretty straight also. So as of now we're actually dead on. The reason I did this is because now I have this amount of Z height, and with it mounted in this holder I had no Z height. And I've also ordered a new vise, which I'm hoping will arrive tomorrow, which is low profile. I think it's 30 millimeters high total. It's not something fancy, it's made of aluminium, but I think it should work for my purpose here, at least for now. The vise that I got with the machine and I've been using up until now, it is kind of wonky. It's the screw is bent, and this jaw is lifting, and these two surfaces are not even, and so not the best quality vise, I think, and it has been abused, it seems. What we're working on now is backlash. I actually removed the X-axis stepper and tightened up the preload on the angular contact bearings for the ball screw yesterday, but there's still some play there, and I think there's 2 ball nuts here, which you will see later, and I picked up some. This is laminating paper or laminating plastic from work, and let's see here, and this stuff is really thin, and like last time I had that axis apart to clean it, I tried shimming with a piece of a beer can, which is really thin, but this is thinner, and that was too much, and it was binding up. So we'll try with this stuff. Disassembly yet again. I have the indicator mounted on the ball screw, and I'm seeing some relative movement ball screw table. So it is kind of hard to decipher because there's there's that the end of the ball screw isn't perfectly even, and there's some paint on it and stuff, but I can see some movement there, and it tells me I have to, and I have preloaded the bearings. I think we'll need to shim those two ball nuts to tighten them up. I think there's slack in the ball nuts themselves. I'll zero the x-axis, and you can see how much backlash there is here. So now the x-axis is zeroed. I'll move in the opposite direction, and you'll see here. So I'll move until the indicator reads 0.1 millimeters. So that's 0.1.5 millimeters. My x-axis readout says 0.22. So there's 0.11 millimeters of backlash here, and that's excessive. That's excessive. So we'll have to do something about it. That's like a flood cool shield too, because this is not, it is not like tight, watertight, this stepper motor. So that's how the flood cool flow off. There's some play there. I think that's the ball nuts. Like, they need more preload. Actually, I don't think this is necessary because I'm not going to change the preload here. So I'll punch that back in again, and I'll just have to, let's see if I can get to them. Yeah, I'll just loosen the screws in here, and then the table will be free from the bolt screw assembly here, and I can slide it off. So let's do that instead. Forceps. That noise in the background, that's the oil pump. It is, I wired it so it's always on when the mill is powered up. So, or when there's power to the computer and everything controlling the mill. Kind of annoying now as it's just spilling all over the place here. I have it adjusted to give more oil than from factory. I don't know if that's might be not such a good idea, but that's how it is. I forgot about the limit switches, which will have to be removed before I can take off the X table. So please excuse the noise, it's the burner, it's cold in here. So the plan now is to loosen up one of these ball screws and insert a shim, this shim, and it is 0.1 millimeters thick. That feels much better. There's some drag here now, and I think that might help. I didn't show you earlier, but it's the same thing with the Y-axis. So we really should do something about that while we have this thing apart. So let's disassemble more. I'm running out of battery and it's late, so I'll remove what's necessary to get to the Y-axis ball nut, and I'll bring it back tomorrow when I've charged the camera. A day later, I've removed the wake covers for the Y-axis, and now the not so easy task of tightening the angular contact bearings on the Y-axis ball screw. Don't think the shimming will be a problem. It's fairly easy access down there from the underside, but tightening those bearings, that's the hard part, because access is limited, to say the least. Let's see here. Down there you can see that pulley, so I'll have to loosen a couple of screws in there and get the belt off, which is fairly slack. So I'm hoping there's some adjustment there to tighten that up, because it won't help with backlash. And then to get that pulley off and to get to that tab nut and tighten it in here. It's really tight. I can probably remove some wiring and stuff. Feeling the pulley, and it doesn't feel like the X pulley when it had some backlash, when there was backlash. So I think we're good. There's some noise and I can feel the bearing a little bit, so it's probably like it will need to be replaced sooner rather than later. Not now. I'll hook up I loosened the motor mount here to get the belt off, and I'll try to tighten it a bit now because it was too loose, felt too loose. Tighten up the belt and make a shim for the bow screw. It's probably difficult to see on camera, but there's some like scratches on the Y-axis ways, and I have a suspicion, like I know there's a lot of oil getting to the X-axis and all the ball nuts and the set, because I can see the oil pouring down here, but I have a suspicion there's no oil going to the Y-axis, or at least too little. And here, so the oil is routed up this hole and then through this channel, lubing the X-axis, and then it exits out of the X-axis into that hole, and then my compressor starts down there and then into the channel in the Y-axis way. So I'm gonna try to slightly lift the saddle here and then blow it out with compressed air and see if it, because just to make sure it's not clogged. I really should take it off, but there's so much wires and oil passages and stuff connected to this block, so I'm really hoping not to have to. Under the mill now. Here's we have a ball nut, or one of them. The other one is behind there. Loosen up those screws and slide that shim in there and retighten. It looks like it's kind of recessed in there though. Wonder if that other one is the same. Might be a good idea to shim this one. I think I'll do that. Move the table a little bit further back and do this one. It's more comfortable laying here too. This shim is going in there. I can't do that with a camera here, so yeah, you won't see it, but I'm putting this 0.1mm shim between the ball nut and that walnut block thing there. My GoPro camera ran out of battery, so you won't see the assembly here because it's impossible to film it while I work on it with this camera. The 0.1mm shim was too much, too stiff, so now there's a 0.05mm shim in there, and it feels right, and it does move like it's supposed to. So I'll finish cleaning up the ways here and oil up everything, deburr the gibs and install them, and just assemble everything, and then I'll bring you back to see if it helped with a backlash. There's wear marks all across the gib here, so it seems to be like contacting. There's no bow in it or high spots or anything. It seems to be like it's been worn across the whole surface here. So I don't think we need to adjust it. Just lightly stone it and get rid of any burrs. There's a sharp edge here, sharp edge there. I'm now reading 0 backlash on the X-axis, or at least outside what I can measure with my tools. I can only measure down to 0.01 millimeters, and I'm reading 0.02 millimeters backlash on the Y-axis. But I think the gib strip is tighter and on the Y-axis, and I'll probably have to tighten up the gib on the X-axis too, so it might get some backlash there. But this is good. This is much better. Much better. While tightening the gibs, I noticed something that I had been suspecting, but I thought that with such a small footprint, I've assumed, again with assuming things, that with such a small footprint of this machine, twisting wouldn't be a problem. But if I do this, watch what happens on the indicator mounted to the Y, in the Y direction. .05 millimeters of twist of just me with not much force twisting the frame. That's probably why I'm struggling to run tight gibs on the Y-axis. It's binding, and of course the original steppers are weak, but there's the twisting. That's the problem here. So I will have to at least brace this frame, like make a few supports in the middle here to stiffen it up, but preferably make a new frame for it. More stuff to do.